Hi, everyone. It's Henry DeVries with Agency Rainmaker TV. This is the show where we help agency owners, advertising agency, direct marketing, digital marketing, PR agencies make it rain. How to find more right fit clients. And one of our mottos is uh, a book is your number one marketing tool. Talking about the book is your number one business strategy. So, the best way to attract right fit clients is typing and talking. And we've got an expert on talking, a presentation expert on TED Talking. Frank King, so great for you to join us today. What's your main message to share with the listeners and viewers today?
Well, I think in speaking, the TEDx is the number one, what did you say? Business development? What was it? I want to get it right.
It's a business development strategy,
Yes.
but
I think
it's your bona fides. It's your um, people say that's the credibility booster is that you say, oh, have you seen my TEDx talk? No, do you have a TEDx talk, Frank?
I have 12 of them.
12 of them. Okay. So you're an overachiever.
Yes.
We're going to learn from an overachiever to,
Yeah, so number one business business building strategy, I do believe is the TEDx
yeah,
because it gives you visibility, credibility, some marketability. And if you use it properly, Henry, it's a
yes.
great way to build your brand, raise your fee, and get additional speaking engagements. A lot of people just figure if it goes up on YouTube, the world's going to be the path of my door, and that's not going to happen. So yeah, I think, and that's why in the program that I teach, we start with the TEDx, and then we use that to leverage, as I said, your speaking career, build more, build your brand, raise your fee, get more speaking engagement.
We find our authors who have a TEDx talk get more impact, more influence, and more income if they leverage it, just like you said. So, Frank, why don't you introduce yourself to the viewers and tell us a little bit about who you serve?
I serve, and that's easy. And these a couple of these are going to sound familiar, Henry.
Yeah.
Speakers, authors, coaches are my three ideal client groups because each can use a TEDx as that strategy. At coaches, when I meet coaches, and they want to speak, and I go, look, well, first thing we got to do is you're no longer a coach who speaks, you're a speaker who coaches. You're going to use speaking as your number one marketing tool to hopefully land coaching, training, consulting clients. You get paid to keynote, but you're really showcasing for a target rich audience. So you're no longer a coach who speaks, you're now a speaker who coaches.
We're all about helping people become authorities. We say we're not in the book business, we're in the authority making business. And while a book is great, I always say more people will be impacted by hearing you speak than will ever be impacted by reading you. And so, what are the services you do to help people land a TED Talk?
Well, soup to nuts from how do you simply how you find the application, fill out the application in a way that is creative enough to get attention when there are probably 200 or 300 other applications for that particular TEDx talk. There's got to be a hook. I think creativity is the first hurdle. I have two TEDx talks I didn't have to audition for. They liked my title and subtitle and idea so much. They said, no, you don't have to audition. No, no, just come here and do that. My favorite, my fifth, only one I ever got a standing ovation for, was Mental Health and the Orgasm, Treat Your Depression Single-Handedly. And the tagline was, I love my iPhone, but it's my second favorite handheld device. And they called me and said, no, you don't have to audition, Chief. You just come over here and do that. We're going to have you do it right before lunch. So give them something to talk about at lunch. So and I think the thing about TEDx, and then we go through the process, fill out the application, I help them with the audition, and then help them actually cobble together the TEDx talk. And then most importantly, how do you market that? And once it goes up on YouTube, you need to have your marketing plan in place to pull the trigger. And the thing about TEDx is, Henry, the reason it works so well with a speaking career is you're limited to one idea worth spreading. Hopefully, it's the thing you're most passionate about. So that sets you up in the speaking business because I believe in the speaking business. As the wealthy speaker coach Jane Atkinson says, you need to pick a lane. pick a lane, one lane, and I speak on suicide prevention as a workplace health and safety issue. That's all I speak on. And she would say, you want to become the thought leader or expert in your lane, whether it's a particular book that you've written, say on leadership, or you're speaking on suicide prevention. You want to become the expert or thought leader. Idea being that eventually, when someone is looking for someone to speak on your topic, they don't go looking for just anybody. They come looking for you because I think meeting planners back in the day in the 90s, when I first joined NSA, National Speaker Association, meeting planners would hire a speaker with half dozen keynotes and pick the one they wanted to use. Nowadays, it seems like they want the expert or thought leader. And that's the TEDx sets speakers up for that. And then we take it from there.
Yeah. So to be the authority, to be the thought leader, that 1-2 punch of a book and a TEDx talk on an important idea, just perfect. So how do you make it rain? Because we can get valuable lessons from someone like you. If I can pay you a compliment, Frank, we've been working together for 20 years. I've seen you grow so much. I mean, you were a successful stand-up comedian. You were a successful corporate humorist. I think that would be the right word.
Yep.
But then you really discovered there had to be more than just being funny.
Mhm.
Without funny, there's no money, but sometimes funny alone doesn't get it. So you had to do more, and you developed a message and something
Yep.
important, and you're helping a lot of people um, with an epidemic problem of suicide and mental illness in the workplace.
Mhm. Yep.
So, what tips would you have on how you've advanced your career?
Well, picking a lane, the TEDx, I did my first TEDx, Henry. People ask me, was TEDx on your bucket list? No, TEDx wasn't even on my radar. But I was lamenting the fact as I was becoming a speaker who was funny rather than the funny speaker, that who's going to take me seriously after 2.5 decades of comedy? And my wife said, off the cuff, do a TEDx talk. And I said, what's a TEDx talk? And I just happened to get an application that week from a TEDx up in Vancouver, British Columbia. I filled it out. I sent it in. I got the audition. I got it and proved to the world that I could do something deadly serious with humor. So that set me on the path. I'd pick my lane. I found a way for people to take me seriously with humor. And the way I believe you make it rain in speaking is speakers are problem solvers. I tell my clients, I don't care how good your book or your keynote is. If you're not solving a problem for somebody, A, they're not going to buy your book. B, they're not going to book you to speak. You have to be solving a problem. And what I did was I looked around and I learned this from you, Henry. The phrase is target rich audience. So I thought, Henry said target rich audience. How should I, you know what? I'll look up the top 10 at-risk occupations for suicide in the US, and that will be where I aim my marketing. Not every corporation, every industry, not, spray and pray, as they say. I focus all of my marketing on those industries and as a suicide prevention speaker to the point where on my website, there's subpages. It's .com/suicide prevention speaker construction, because those are the keywords that the meeting planner is probably typing in. And I've had real success with that. I did an osteopathic convention, national. I said, how'd you find me? She goes, Frank, on a whim, I typed in suicide prevention speaker, osteopaths, thinking, oh, what are the odds? Oh my God, there's a guy. So that's again, I picked a lane, one lane. I picked a set of clients, a finite set, as Seth Godin would say, just enough clients. Was it the smallest viable number of clients?
Mhm.
Have the problem that I am setting out to solve. That's all I need. And I just laser focused on them. That's where all my I mean, if somebody from another industry calls, I would certainly do the talk. But I want to be a thought leader and expert in suicide prevention and in those industries.
One of my mentors, author Drew McClellan, says, you have a niche, but if somebody shows up with a big bag of money and they have a problem that you can solve, go ahead, take the big bag of money, solve the problem. just don't invest any marketing into trying to find those people. Find the
No.
target rich environments. I got that from another one of my authors who was a Air Force pilot, and that's their language, because they're always looking for a target rich environment to use. Okay, so great advice. I think the takeaway is you got to have a niche. Or you can have multiple niches. You have multiple niches. I really compliment you for showing us the way on how to do that. Um, Frank, I see we're almost out of time. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we go?
Yes, two things. One is I often am asked by my speaker coaching clients about doing a speech for no fee. I give them two pieces of advice. One, do one pro bono speech a month. And when they call you like 2 months ahead of time, go, oh, I would love to do that. Learn that from Henry. Oh, I would love to do that, but I've already booked it for this year. So call me earlier next year. So you're not turning them down. And B, people ask me, will I do a speech pro bono? I said, yes, if there are going to be enough people in the audience, decision makers, who can hire me when I get done. I will fly myself there, put myself up, and bring myself home if there are enough decision makers in the audience who have the problem I'm trying to solve. And the second piece of advice is, and I learned this NSA in 1995, didn't put it into practice till 2018. The riches are in the niches.
Witches. I'm going to spend a minute on it because Mark LeBlanc, my business partner, one of your mentors, and you and a lot of people think we're crazy. I'm doing 9 workshops around the country where I'm paying my way. I'm
Mhm.
paying for everything to be in front of people, and I might only be in front of 5 to 10 people there. And that is how we built this business. Going out where there are decision makers gathered, I want to be there, and it doesn't have to be a ton of them, but that's what's built the business. And I've really admired you that you do that so much. You invest in your business by speaking where it makes sense.
Well, and I not only my business, but I'm a big believer in give value first, and then without expectation of return. And all of my social media marketing, I'm giving things away. I'm not selling anything. I'm simply educating. A 40-page guide of this, the 3 secrets of this. And I get compliments from, people who actually book up a discovery call based on the material. I think a lot of marketers make the mistake of pitch slapping the client right up front. Give something of value first, you know, so they trust you and they appreciate all my stuff is educational, no selling on social media.
I, it might be a book. Hint, hint. That was a blatant commercial, everybody. Frank, so thanks so much for being with us. And until next time, everybody, make it rain.